Hey, Guru here. I thought I had a little bit of a interesting video idea. Age of Empires 2, it's a video game I play, and they semi recently had an expansion that included some new civilizations, including the Dravidians, a South Asian civilization, almost as South Asian as you can get. And I actually happened to make a theorycraft for this civilization like 4 years ago. It's not very good, but I thought it'd be interesting to compare my theorycraft to the actual design that the devs went with. Um, I'll preface this by saying I was not prophetic. I was mostly wrong, but I thought this would be interesting. So, starting off, uh, we have the Tamils. So I was wrong about the name. I was half right about what type of civilization it is. They're not considered an elephant civ in the actual game. They're considered an infantry civ. I was right about the architecture, though that's not much of an achievement. I was actually right about the wonder, so that's something. So bonuses, my bonuses, the bonuses I gave them were mostly wrong. Like being able to create units while researching text. I feel like that's a pretty cool bonus. That like could be really cool if they used it. I think the idea there is like if you're like researching fervor at the monastery when you're trying to get relics, you can also make a monk. Or like I think most significantly, if you're like teching up to the next age with your town center, you can still make villagers. So this would be really strong, but it's completely different from their actual bonus, which just gives them plus 200 wood when they age up, which is pretty good, but it's completely different in the idea. And they also gave them a bonus to fisher fishing ships, which I gave them this weird villager gathering bonus that would which would actually be pretty helpful for fishermen because then you could have like 5 or 6 fishermen fishing from one, uh, you know, set of shore fish. So I actually think this would be a pretty cool bonus. But so that was kind of right that they would have a fishing bonus, but it's pretty different. And then for whatever reason, I decided that these guys would really focus on fire ships and heavy demo ships, which I don't know. I mean, galleons are what it's always been all about. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea why. I thought fire ships and heavy fire ships would be the thing. I guess that would. I mean, the extra pierce armor would actually probably make them like extremely dominant on water maps, but it's completely different from the bonuses they got, and it's actually totally different because the Dravidians don't directly have too many naval bonuses until like the Imperial Age. I mean, they have the free wood, which is really good, and their docks give some population space, but it's nothing like this. It's actually really different in concept. But in the team bonus, I just had their docks work 10% faster, which I don't really play naval. I don't really play multiplayer, but well, I don't really play team games. I mean, I do play multiplayer, but I'm sure docks working 10% faster would be way overpowered. But I mean, it'd be a lot more impactful than basically getting a free house whenever you make a dock. Well, I mean, that's pretty good. So their first unique unit, Singunthar, I was sort of predictive here. I don't actually know what a Singuthar is. I don't know where I got that from. I mean, I think I looked it up on Wikipedia. I think it was like a caste in Dravidian society that was like a warrior caste, or maybe a noble warrior caste. I don't know. And I found this picture online, so I don't know if I decided that they would be like basically dismounted knights just based off this picture. I mean, this guy, whoever he was, he looks quite cool. Looks spiky. I guess a horse could get spiked on his armor. I don't know. And of course, I mean, this is like 19th century photo, so I don't know how well it captures medieval, South Asia. But anyway, so my idea for the unique unit was this kind of weird name, weird that I don't think is really would really translate to a specific unit type, but basically, sort of a dismounted knight that's really good against heavy cavalry and elephants, which is a really specific niche. Like a lot of hit points, good armor. So I think this actually seems like it'd be a pretty decent unique unit. Or I mean, it'd be pretty decent infantry, though. Again, I mean, like, halberdiers are always just going to be basically the best thing against heavy cavalry. So I guess this maybe is like an anti-heavy cavalry unit that can also do well against like camels and uh, you know, spearmen, other infantry. So I don't know, a really specific thing, but this kind of would be kind of maybe would kind of be of a cool niche. I don't know. I feel like infantry and AoE2 are kind of just like chumps. Like very few of them are all that good. I think like Huskarls, those are great. Those are really good. But most infantry, it's like they're slow. They're like just they get kicked around easily by archers and cavalry and siege. They're like physically small even. I feel like infantry and AoE2 is kind of like chumps. Like once knights are on the table, you know, no one's making long swordsmen. Not even that many people are really making champions, which is a shame because they're really cool. But that's an aside. So that is compared to AoE2's Urumi swordsmen, which are these guys with like these cool whip swords. Pretty different in that Urumi swordsmen are like lightly armored. They're not that tough. Yeah, but Urumi swordsmen in the kind of post-imperial age are actually really good against heavy cavalry since they ignore their armor. They have splash damage, and they actually trade pretty well. So I was kind of predictive in the sense of a anti-heavy cavalry infantry unit, but so this one I was like half right. And then the naval unique unit, I gave them basically a flagship, which honestly I think this is a pretty cool idea. Though it's kind of a weird execution. I mean, I feel like a flagship wouldn't be like ramming. I feel like they'd kind of be like maybe a bit in the background or just like kind of leading the ships. So if I were to, I guess if I were to redo this, which I'm not, there would be no reason to. But I don't know. I feel like it would have made more sense to have this unit be more like a commander ship. Like maybe it slightly heals nearby ships or like buffs them. That actually would be a really cool like unique unit for AoE2. I don't really do naval, but it'd be a really cool niche. Sort of like how centurions are for the Romans, where like the centurions kind of buff legionnaires. That'd be kind of cool if you had like commander ships that buffed other ships. But anyway, so I give them the idea of being like a really tough, really well armored ramming unit. Sort of like, especially good for like taking out docks, which I don't know if you really need that niche when, bombard cannons exist. But this was my idea. The actual Dravidians, they have Thericidae, which, from my understanding, is sort of like 2 or 3 galleons in one. So these guys, they're really big. They're decent attackers. But these guys, Thericidae, they're just kind of like galleons on steroids. Whereas this idea was totally different. So, but I mean, I was still kind of right of it being like a large, heavy ship. So this one maybe I was half right also. So half right for the unique units. That's pretty good actually. Barracks, nothing really to say. Gambesons didn't exist yet. Archery range, I didn't give them gunpowder. Also, I give them cavalry archers, but you know, elfin archers didn't even exist yet. So the weird one is paladins. I don't know why I gave them paladins. I don't think I read at any point in their history that they were like really into horses and heavy cavalry. Like I have no idea why I gave them paladins. I think I just had a very limited grasp on their history, honestly. 'Cause- And then, of course, AoE2 now, most Indian civs don't even have knights. Actually, none of them have knights. None of the Indian civilizations have knights. Uh, they don't even all have light cavalry. But, so I was very wrong for stables. Because if you look at the Dravidian stables, what you see is almost nothing. Whereas I gave them freaking paladins. So, very interesting. I guess I was right about bloodlines being absent. But very curious. And Siege, no bombards, not really much to say about that. Defenses, monastery, whatever. So, I think the most interesting thing, or not the most interesting, but something interesting is the unique technologies. So, I give them Woot Steel, which I was totally on the name, or I was on the docket about the name. Like they actually did give them a tech called Woot Steel, though I had Woot Steel giving them better armor. I think I probably just didn't have that great of a understanding of how Woot Steel was actually used. I mean, I'm not aware of South India, especially like southern South India, of having been like a place with armor comparable to European knights, like plate armor and just like ridiculously heavy armor. Like I'm not aware of that really being a thing. So it's probably totally wrong. Like I don't even know if they would have like put. I don't have like that great of an understanding of Woot Steel, but I think I was pretty wrong about the application. But I was right about it being a technology that benefited infantry and cavalry, though not in the same age and not in the same way. In Dynasty, that's like the laziest name for unique technology ever. I mean, pretty much every medieval civilization had a dynasty. So, I mean, you might as well just have a technology called like monarchy or feudalism. I guess maybe not. I guess you could say that didn't literally all have feudalism, or at least not at the same time. But so dynasty, kind of a weird idea. I think the idea was just like this is when you become like the post-imperial power. This is when you become a real empire. I guess that was the idea. But battle elephants and fire ships take half population space. Fire ships, again, I don't really do naval, but like I don't think anyone wants like a bunch of fire ships. Because even if you make all the fire ships in the world, it's like they can't actually like target pretty much any buildings or any units. And so all the opponent has to do is sneak away and make up a bunch of demo ships. And then your massive number of fire ships just get taken out. I guess I don't know. It's weird. I mean the meta, I believe, is especially in the late game to have just a ton of galleys because archer type units. They I don't know. They really they benefit from massing up in a way that like fire ships don't, and other melee type units don't. So that was a weird one. And also battle elephants taking half population space. I don't think that would actually be that great. I mean, I guess like if you're on like on a match type where you have like I don't know 175 population cap. If you somehow like were to squirrel away the resources to just delete all your vills or villagers and just literally make like I guess 350 battle elephants. I guess you could just like auto win. I don't even know. Like I don't. I mean that's never been done. Like in that crazy situation, I don't really think 175 of any other unit could stand up to 350 battle elephants. That's just ridiculous, honestly. But practically, I don't think it'd be that great because like elfin archers are awesome, and in the late game, having a bunch of elfin archers, it's great because they can just soak up so much damage and just give so much steady damage. They're just it's like they're flesh towers. It's like having a couple mobile castles. Like elfin archers, this kind of bonus applied to elfin archers would be insane, but applied to elfin elephants, I feel like it's kind of meh. Like I think halberdiers are still gonna eat their lunch. Monks too. Though I mean, with that many elephants, like no one can micro that. Too many monks to deal with that. So overall, I was pretty off the spot. I was non-predictive. I was wrong about the name. I was partially wrong about the civilization focus. And while I was right about it being naval, like my ideas for their navy were completely different. Whereas I think the Dravidians are more like I don't know. It's like they have extra wood to make ships. They have a good fishing economy. So I guess they have a pretty good economy for navy. And then in the late game, they get like a really good late game ship unit, but very different from my idea of just I don't know, just like raiding the like early on rushes with fire ships and like late game, I guess mass army of fire ships. It just would be just like such an ineffective and inefficient naval army. But I don't know. I wasn't that good at designing civilizations 4 years ago. I guess not that I'd say that that's necessarily different now, but so yeah, I was partially right about the civilization's general focus. I was kind of half right with the actual unique units. I was like barely right with the unique text, but sort of like maybe a third right with Woot Steel. So that's kind of interesting. You do wonder, like it would be cool to kind of learn what like the the research process is for AoE2 developers, because some things, some civilizations they make, they don't seem that historically grounded. Such as like Ethiopians having like the best bombard cannons of all time, and just siege in general. Like, where's that coming from? But then others, it does seem like they put a lot of work. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like, I definitely don't think this was a better design or more accurate design. Like, 10,000% that is not the case. But I don't know. It's kind of interesting to see some of the similarities in my design compared to what would eventually come. So I will probably make a similar video if they ever make an expansion that covers civilizations I've previously theory crafted. So it'd be interesting. And there's a few where I actually did theorycraft about them in the past, and then they got made, but I don't have access to those documents anymore. Like the Poles, which I actually called the Polish. But so yeah, I might make a video like this again. I thought it was interesting. Maybe you might find it interesting. Anyway, have a good one. Bye.